using the Q&A window, and we'll answer them as soon as we can. Lastly, we've provided some additional resources for you to supplement your learning. You can access them by clicking on the links in this section. Without further ado, I'll hand over to our speakers.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Virtual Training Day Fundamentals CRM. This course covers 5 modules. Module 1, where we will be exploring Dynamics 365 customer engagement apps and their core capabilities. In Module 2, we learn the fundamentals of Dynamics 365 marketing. In Module 3, we will learn the fundamentals of Dynamics 365 sales. Moving on to Module 4, we will be covering fundamentals of Dynamics 365 customer service, and we wrap up this course with Module 5, the fundamentals of Dynamics 365 field services. Before we kick off today, let me share a little bit about myself. My name is Rama, and I'm a former automation engineer who transitioned into Azure technical training. I love my current job because of the amazing people I get to interact with and learn from every single day. I enjoy playing football, listening to music, and climbing mountains. And if you're ready, I will be your Microsoft technical trainer and guide you to conquer your own mountains as we explore customer engagement applications inside of Dynamics 365. You might also hear these applications or apps described as customer relationship management apps. And here's the cool thing. If you're looking for a new badge to add to your collection, these sessions tie directly to the MB-910 examination, and by attending this session and leveraging the learning path at aka.ms/MB910, you're going to have everything that you need for the MB910 examination. We have a full agenda ahead of us, so why don't we get started with module number 1. Again, just so you know, all of this material that I'm going to be covering can be found in aka.ms/MB910. Now, Dynamics 365's customer engagement applications are customer-focused business applications that are built on the Microsoft Power Platform. They are designed to help organizations more effectively engage their customers. The Microsoft Power Platform is a low-code application development platform that supports not only Dynamics 365, but also Office 365, Azure, and other standalone applications. And because it combines the power of Power Apps, Power BI, and Power Automate into one platform that provides quick and easy app building and data insights. This lesson is an introduction to the shared features for the customer engagement apps. We're going to take a quick look at what customer engagement is and what functionality and business processes we are addressing with customer engagement apps. And then we will get introduced to the Microsoft Dataverse. Customer engagement apps are built on Microsoft's Power Platform, and data is stored in the Microsoft Dataverse. And then we will dive into an environment to access Dynamics 365 customer engagement apps and get familiar with navigating around Microsoft 365. And in later lessons, we will observe how customers and activities are common across the customer engagement apps, and I will show you how to work with customers and activities, learn how to locate and filter data, and get familiar with the shared approach to locating and filtering data. Then I will describe the different reporting options in Dynamics 365, and finally, review the options for integrating other Microsoft products like Microsoft Word, Excel, SharePoint, Teams, and Power Apps with Dynamics 365 customer engagement apps. Customer engagement is the connection between a customer and a brand. When you engage your customers well, they'll form a strong relationship with you, buy more, and demonstrate more loyalty. Customer engagement apps for Dynamics 365 are built on the Microsoft Power Platform, and this helps organizations to manage customer relationships. Organizations can use these applications individually or together to create powerful end-to-end relationships with their customers. While each application provides a specific solution, they share common elements that are the same, regardless of the application you're using. This module focuses on those common elements that are used across all of Dynamics 365 customer engagement applications. One of the key elements to building applications on this platform is the Microsoft Dataverse. The Dataverse lets you securely store and manage data used by all of your different business applications. So let's say that you're storing all of your customer data in tables inside of Dataverse. Each of these tables is made up of rows and columns for specific information like names, addresses, different shopping preferences, and any other data that you might want to collect. Well, the Dataverse includes a set of standard tables that cover typical business scenarios such as accounts, contacts, and activities. The advantage of using the Dataverse is that organizations can also create custom tables specific to their needs and populate them with their data. All of the different applications that we're going to be looking at inside of Dynamics 365 store their data inside the Dataverse. And the real benefit to you and your organization is that you can build apps by using Power Apps and the Dataverse directly against your core business data, which is already used within Dynamics 365. So you don't have to take any extra steps to integrate the two. Since we know where the data is being stored, let's look at the 5 core Dynamics 365 customer engagement applications. We have marketing, sales, field service, customer service, and project operations. These applications help your organization change how you engage and interact with your customers. By using these tools, your organization can create personalized marketing, sales, and service experiences using data and intelligence to improve and customize every interaction. Let's take a closer look at accessing these applications and learn how to navigate around and switch between these apps if needed. So the easiest way to access our applications is to go to office.com/apps. So here you see all of the apps that are available to your organization. And what I really want to focus on is the business apps. You can see all of these business apps that are available in my organization. And there are many of them with regards to marketing, sales hub, field service, to be able to run your operations. All of the logos look a little similar. So if you knew exactly what you're looking for, I'm looking for Sales Hub. I'll just type Sales Hub, and this will bring me straight into the application. Most of the Dynamics 365 apps have a similar layout. On the left, you'll be able to change areas, check out the settings. And if you wanted to switch across applications, you'd click on the top over here where it says Sales Hub. And I can switch across to one of the other services like field service or marketing. I'm just going to show you another way you can switch apps, that is using the grid at the top left. Again, you see the same applications as before. If you clicked all apps, you can search again for marketing. And there we are. Here I can also view the event planning, because events and marketing are so closely linked. They are in the same portal, in the same application. And these are all the events that are open right now. You can see the event type. You can see the settings. As an administrator, I'm also able to access a lot of settings. Over here, this is where I would go to change settings based on event management, collaboration, email marketing. And this is where you can configure a lot of things that are very vital for setting up your infrastructure in running these operations. So on the left is where you'll be able to access all the different options for marketing. And let's jump right back into Sales Hub and continue as we were. So the layout of Dynamics 365, most of the applications is the same. You're going to find the search bar at the top, and you're going to be able to see the filters on the top. And it's going to look pretty much the same. So once you figure out how to use one of the applications, the others have a very similar layout. And this is where you'd access your filters. So the search bar is usually how I like to do a lot of my work. It makes things a lot easier. And we'll see many times throughout the day that we will be doing demos. With that, let's jump back to our presentation. And we will be seeing a little bit more of the portal a little later on. As you can see, it is very easy to access the different Dynamics 365 applications available to you directly from the home screen. And once you've opened an app, you can easily switch between different applications as needed. And since we understand how easy it is to access and navigate the different applications, let's now take a closer look at how to search and filter data inside of the customer engagement applications. There are many ways that you can go about finding data. So let's say, for example, if I'm looking for all my customers who are located in Redmond, Washington, You can see here on the screen that I can simply add a filter on the city column. And you can add as many filters as you need to create a view that fits your needs. But if needed, you can also search for a specific word or a phrase inside of Dynamics. And if I wanted to find all my accounts with the word adventure in it, I simply type that into the search field as shown on the slide, and it would pull up anything that meets my criteria. This is often referred to as Quick Find and is available on any Dynamics 365 view. You provide the first several letters of the item that you're looking for, and the results will be returned directly in the view. So this is where I'm searching one view. And in this case, I'm searching only my active accounts. But if I wanted to pull out not only the accounts, but all of the contacts who are also associated with a company that has the word adventure in it, in that case, I would use the categorized search. And in the categorized search, I can add additional filter through advanced search, which will let me add conditions like accounts with open order or active leads. And the primary difference between a categorized search and a quick find is that instead of only searching one type of record, it searches across multiple tables that have been defined by the organization. And there may be times where you may not be able to find what you're looking for by using the standard filtering and searching options. For instance, while working in Dynamics 365 Sales, you may need to locate all of the accounts with open opportunities. You won't be able to do that with standard filtering since you need to filter based on multiple entities. In this instance, you can use the advanced filter option. This allows you to create detailed filters that can span multiple entities. The advanced filter icon is located just to the left of the quick find search box. This may sound a little complicated, but it's fairly easy to use once you get familiar. With that, let's wrap up lesson 1. Throughout this lesson, we described the different use cases for Dynamics 365 CRM applications. We also had a look at what the Microsoft Dataverse is and how it is used and how it is useful for Dynamics 365 applications. And we examined the different Dynamics 365 CRM applications and what they're going to be used for. And we reviewed the different options for accessing CRM applications, and we walked through how to locate and filter data in Dynamics 365. For the last lesson of this module, I want to explain the benefits of leveraging Dynamics 365 applications in your organizations. Because you see, Dynamics can easily integrate with other Microsoft applications that allow you to use Dynamics in so many other areas across your organization. And instead of Dynamics 365, you're going to be working with customers. When it comes to customer types, you have a business-to-business or a B2B customer who is a business purchasing your products or services, and you also have a business-to-consumer or B2C. This is where an individual is buying the product or service. And we have the hybrid customer, which can be a business or an individual. And no matter what type of customer you're working with, Dynamics 365 can support you. The way you set up your customer profiles is through accounts and contacts. An account represents a company or an organization that you do business with, such as a customer, a vendor, a partner, or a reseller. And then a contact represents a person. A contact can be a standalone person or an individual at an organization. Accounts and contacts can be tied to one in a few different ways. You can have parent accounts with numerous accounts underneath it, and accounts and parent accounts can both have contacts associated with them. While an account might have multiple contacts, it is likely that it will have a primary contact. And the primary contact represents a key person at the organization that you are primarily going to be dealing with. Part of the reason that you collect information on accounts and contacts is to know who you're working with. But you'll also want a way to keep track of the communication that you and your team has with your customers. And activities inside of Dynamics 365 allow you to track meetings, emails, phone calls, or even notes. And as your organization's relationship with the customer grows over time, you and other people on your team can look through the record timeline to see the history of your interactions. Now, when it comes to tracking activities, You will most likely be tracking communication with an account or a customer. But there are a few different ways where you can leverage activities. Later, when we take a look at sales lifecycle, you might want to take notes on a call regarding a lead or a quote. Or when we talk about service work orders, it might be helpful to note any calls about the issue so that everyone is on the same page if the same customer reaches out. And I want to show you how easy it is to create a customer and add these activities. So let's go ahead and log into our Dynamics account again, shall we? Here I am back in the portal, and now I'm going to again go to Business Apps, and you see the apps once again, and I'm going to go to Sales Hub. Inside Sales Hub, what I want you to take note of is on the left, again, the navigation menu. And now we want to create a new account. So under Customers, I'll click on Accounts. And I'm going to create a new account, but below here you can see all of the existing accounts. You can think of them as maybe a list of customers, your database of all the contacts that you have. Click New Account. And when you click New Account, you can see that there's a lot of information that you can add. But the ones that are really compulsory are the ones with the asterisk next to them. So the account name, it must be there. So I'm going to add Contoso Corporate. And then for phone number, I'm just going to add populate it with something, 888-555-89876. And I don't have a website, no parent account, no ticker. I am going to add an address though, because it does come in a little handy later on. So here I'll add a 191-181 Avenue N, 181st. And then I've got a city. I'm based in Seattle and in the state of Washington. Zip code 98101 and country will be the USA. Click Done. So now we have a new account that has been created. I just need to save and close. And inside our list of accounts, if you were to scroll down, you'd see that Contoso has been created right there, Contoso Corporate. I'm going to go ahead and create one additional account. You'll see why in a while. I'm going to create something called Contoso North America. So I want this Contoso North America to be a subsidiary of Contoso Corporate. Again, I'm going to populate this with a number 888-555, maybe 1234. I don't have a website. I'm not going to put too many details for this account. I'm going to put an address, but just indicate maybe the city. Chicago, and that's enough for now. And an additional thing I'm going to do for Contoso North America is I'm going to create a parent account. So I'm going to create a parent-child relationship between Contoso Corporate, that is right here, and Contoso North America. If you can't see the list of companies here, you can look under All Records, and you'll be able to find all of the other contacts that you have in your database. But since I saw Contoso Corporate in the recent records, I'm just going to choose that. And now we have formed this relationship. I just need to save and close. Once I do that, you can see over here, we've got Contoso Corporate, Contoso North America. I'm going to choose Contoso North America. And inside here, I'm going to create a contact to be connected to Contoso North America. And you do that under Related. And the Related option, you see the contacts. And currently you see there's no contacts that are related to Contoso North America because we just created this account. So I'm going to go ahead and click New Contact. You could also add existing contacts, but I don't have any existing contact. So I'm going to add a new contact. This is where you would be able to add a business card, or I'm going to do it manually. Here I have someone called Richard Green, who happens to be the CEO. And you can see over here, it has already populated this new quick create contact with the account name, the business phone that belongs to Contoso North America, and the city. So this is a very useful way you can add these details without having to put them in one by one. What I do want to add is an email address for Richard. So rgreen@contoso.com. With that, I'll just save it and close. And here we have a new contact called Richard Green. And what you can also do is to choose Richard Green and make him a primary contact for Contoso North America. So that anytime you have an accounting meeting or a salesperson who wants to contact the company or marketing, this is the person they know to reach out to, Richard Green. Now I'm going to go into Richard Green's account. Here you see all of his details. What I want to is this timeline. This timeline is a very useful way to track all of the interactions that this user or this contact has had with us, with the company. So be it your marketing team, your sales team, your accounting teams, all of them, they can log activities that they've done with Richard inside this timeline. So for example, if you reached out to him for a survey, and then so you can indicate that you sent out a survey, or if you had a phone call, the sales team maybe had a phone call, had a meeting, all of that can be logged under timeline. So I'm going to go ahead and log an appointment with Richard. So I want to set up an appointment with Richard. And the moment I open this window, this quick create, it has already populated with the owner of this meeting, who are the required attendees. If I wanted, I could add additional attendees. I could look for example, if I had a colleague named Garrett Bono that I wanted to attend the session, or I have a salesperson named Mehdi who I want to attend the session, you could find all these people. You probably need to do advanced lookup to find these records. And the subject would be meeting with Richard. And the location, I'll just say I'm meeting him in the Lawn Cafe. And Richard is a busy man, so I have to wait until 2025 to meet with him. And that's okay, because at least we know that we have an appointment set with him, and this appointment will show up in the timeline. So anybody who wants to reach out to Richard, they know that, oh, someone already has an appointment with Richard. I don't need to keep re-engaging him, Richard already is aware that we are in touch with him. So I could save and close, and you'd see that the meeting with Richard shows up in the timeline. And this is active. And let's just say we fast forward to 2025. And we have our appointment. You might want to go back into the appointment using open record here. And you might go in there and say that, oh, wow, the meeting went well, so I want to remember what happened. Richard likes the product, wants to see a full-scale proof how you use that data. So a key part of Dynamics 365 is a number of different reporting tools. We've already looked at views and how you can search and filter them, but you can also create charts that provide a visual breakdown of your data. And these charts are interactive, so you can drill down and get into the nitty-gritty of your data. And then what you can do is to take the views and the charts and use them to create custom dashboards. I really like dashboards because it keeps all of the information I need in a single place. And I can share these dashboards with others on my team or create standard dashboards that are available for everyone to access and obtain information. Finally, you have something that I feel is the most useful part of the whole process: reports. Everybody needs reports to be able to inform them during decision making. You have reports that you can generate and export to share with others in your organization. And these reports can be completely customized to your needs using Reports Wizard. Let's say, for example, you can store files in your Dynamics records, but that's going to be a standalone copy. Imagine if you were to be able to interact with a file or a document in its native application and it was automatically synchronized across platforms. Some of the most common integrations that I see are with Word, Excel, Teams, SharePoint, and all the Power Apps. Microsoft Word is probably one of the most common applications used in the workplace. But when it's integrated with the Dataverse, you can create templates and share them across the organization for invoices, reports, or anything else you can think of. While Word is one of the most popular applications, I would say that Excel is probably one of the most used integrations in Dynamics. Think about it. You have all of the data inside of Dynamics. By exporting this data into Excel, your team can manipulate and analyze this data to extract useful business insights to easily create up-to-date Excel reports without needing knowledge of Excel formulas, charts, or pivot tables. Templates can be opened in Excel online or downloaded and then opened locally in Excel on your own machine. Since everything is integrated, you also have the option to export data as a local copy on your machine. Or you can export it as a dynamic worksheet where the link is maintained from Excel to the Dataverse and Dynamics. And in that fashion, your data is always kept current and so are your dashboards and reports. One of the other commonly used integrations is Microsoft SharePoint. By leveraging SharePoint integration, any document added to Dynamics will automatically be stored in the SharePoint site. All of these integrations are designed to help your team easily collaborate and work with the most up-to-date information. And especially over the last couple of years, we've seen how important it is for teams to be able to collaborate without being in the same physical space. Microsoft Teams has been an important tool with virtual teams, but it goes beyond just virtual meetings. With the integration between Teams and Dynamics, your sales teams can now share Dynamics records inside of Teams. And since the documents are synchronized between the two, updates are also kept synchronized. And the last integration I want to look at is Power Apps. Dynamics 365 customer engagement apps are all what you call model-driven apps. Because of this, you can take advantage of all the Canvas apps. This allows you to connect different data sources beyond just the Dataverse. So if you're using a SQL application or maybe some kind of third-party app, you can pull all of the data together to create dynamic visualizations. In this last lesson, we saw how we can work with customers and activities on Dynamics 365, and we understood the different reporting capabilities available to us. We also got a good look at the different integration options we have available that allow us to use our Dynamics 365 apps with other Microsoft applications. But what I want you to really take away from this first module is that all of the customer engagement apps allow you to work seamlessly across your organization using the same data that is managed by the Dataverse. And for the rest of today, we'll be exploring how these tools and integrations make it easier for your sales and marketing teams to find potential customers and build long-lasting relationships. But before we start to really dig into the specific applications, let's go ahead and take a short 10-minute break. This will give you a chance to stand up and stretch and allow what I have shared in this module to really sink in. After that, we'll come back and look specifically at Dynamics 365 marketing application. Sound good? All right, I'll see you back here in 10 minutes. It's all about working with Dynamics 365 marketing. This is a marketing application that can help you take your prospective relationships and turn them into business relationships. In this module, we're going to explore the Dynamics 365 marketing app and then explore additional marketing capabilities and applications. Let's explore the Dynamics 365 marketing app, shall we? In the first lesson of this module, we will be exploring Dynamics 365 marketing app. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify key capabilities of the Dynamics 365 marketing, describe segments and email marketing messages in Dynamics 365 marketing. You should also be able to understand customer journeys in Dynamics 365 marketing. And finally, we should be able to understand and describe lead generation and qualification in Dynamics 365 marketing. Dynamics 365 marketing can help you identify who your prospects are and turn them into business relationships. And when we break down business, it is all about relationships, isn't it? Let's take an everyday example. If you're looking for a place to eat dinner, are you more likely to go to a place that your friend recommends or a random place that you know nothing about? You're probably going to choose the one that your friend recommends because you trust them. So marketing is a little bit like that. When it comes to marketing inside of Dynamics, you can build out campaigns to target the right audience based on their location, their preference, or even their mutual connections. And these are just some of the capabilities inside of the system. Now, if you're not a marketing professional, not to fret, you may not be familiar with this process or were even aware how much went on behind the scenes. The good news is, Dynamics 365 is going to help you manage a lot of these different tasks. Whether it's working with your customers or designing a campaign that will put your product in front of the right audience, Dynamics is going to be able to help you with those efforts. In Module 1, we learned that customers are the folks who are buying your products or services. This is who you're targeting for your marketing efforts. And there are a lot of different ways you can do this. You can send out marketing emails, leverage social media to reach out to your customers. You can even build out custom customer journey so that you can create a path depending on what actions the customer takes to make that sale happen. As your customers interact with your marketing efforts and express their interest, they can then be converted into a sales lead. And Dynamics 365 can score each lead based on interactions like opening an email or visiting your web page, or whether that lead is likely to be converted by making a purchase. Now, a lot of marketing efforts are becoming more and more internet-based. A lot of the times, your customers are going to be introduced to your product through some sort of web page. Dynamics 365 makes it easy to collect information on your customers and leverage that information to expand your marketing strategy. An extremely important part of any marketing campaign is making sure that you are targeting the consumers who would benefit most from your product or service. It doesn't matter how amazing your marketing campaign is, if you're not getting it in front of the right audience, you're not going to make that sale. And because of that, one of the first most important decisions to make when designing marketing campaigns is choosing the right audience. Once you understand your audience, you can tailor your messaging and marketing approach to appeal to that group of people. You can choose to segment your audience on a few different factors. Maybe you want to segment your audience based on their physical location, or only folks who have visited your website in the last month or so. Just make sure that you understand your audience before building out your campaign. I'll show you in a minute how easy it is to create a customer segment. Let's jump into the demo environment. So we find ourselves back in office.com/apps, and now I'm going to open the marketing app right there. And we open Dynamics 365 Marketing. And what we really want to do is design customer segments and customer journeys to engage high-scoring leads. And for that, we need to look at the outbound marketing application. I changed that on the bottom left. And here under customers, I click on segments. And here, I'm going to take you through the process of creating the customer segment. So here are all my active segments. And one of the things that when you notice that all the menus kind of have the same experience, the way to search, the way to choose items. I'm going to go ahead and click a new segment. And I want to create a new dynamic segment. Right here, you see all the existing templates of segments. So you could engage people who have attended a session or who have clicked on an email that you have sent out. Or maybe based on people's birthdays, you want to send them a greeting, or those whose birthdays are within 5 days away. But at this stage, I'm not going to choose any of those templates. I'm going to skip, and I'm going to do manually. I'm going to create this segment. First thing I need to do is to add a query block. And this query block will help me to choose which customers I want to be a part of this new segment. And I need to choose an attribute. So the attribute I'm going to choose is a city, and I want to find people who are based in Chicago. So when I do that, it is going to find all the people in Chicago to be a part of this segment. I'm going to name this segment now to be Chicago Customers and just save that. So now this is an identity, and it's going to find all of the people who are based in Chicago. When I save it, it's going to slowly start to populate based on its query of all the contacts. I'm going to click Go Live, and now it starts to publish this customer segment. So the moment it's published, I'm going to refresh it just to make sure it's working live. And you see there's a change at the top right. We now see that there's one member who's a part of this segment, this Chicago customer segment. I'm going to just take a quick look at who that is. It hasn't populated it just... there we go. We have Richard Green that we just created with Contoso North America, who's now a part of the Chicago customers segment. And the main goal of this entire, this customer segment journey is to be able to treat all these customers of a similar demographic in a certain way, to be able to automate this process. So I'm going to save this. So in this list, what we see is the list of customers in Chicago. And so using this capability, what's nice is that as I have more contacts who are added to Chicago and they're located in Chicago, they're going to be automatically added into that segment. So if I send out any Chicago-specific marketing materials, it is going to directly go to those contacts, and I don't have to rerun or manually send them these flyers or these information materials. Let's go back to our presentation. Now that we've wrapped up the demo, let's continue with the module. After you have your audience identified, you can then build out your marketing tactics. In today's world, email marketing is one of the most commonly used marketing tactics. Because not only does it let you reach large numbers of your customers in a short amount of time, it's also easy to tailor your message content to provide a personalized experience for every single customer receiving it. Dynamics 365 makes it easy for your team to customize email messages and send them out to any contact collected from a landing page or even existing contacts inside of Dynamics, using an easy visual design interface. And the emails that you send out can be automated as part of the customer journey. But as you engage with leads through emails, other marketing initiatives, not all of them are going to respond the same. Some leads will identify with your organization and will be more likely to respond with interest. Others may not be as invested and won't respond or engage as often. As your contacts interact with your marketing initiatives in different ways, you'll generate leads of interest made by those contacts. And that interest can be given a score based on how customers interact with your organization. Dynamics 365 Marketing can calculate a score for each lead based on demographic details, firmographic details, and other actions like opening an email, submitting a landing page, going to your website, or attending an event. So once you have this score, you can design your segments and customer journeys to engage the high-scoring leads with targeted messaging and enticing offers that nurture their interest further. If you remember from that previous segment of marketing terms, the customer journey is the path that your customers or potential customer take as they interact with your marketing processes. The main goal of the customer journey is to take that customer interest, the lead, and ultimately convert it into a sale that leads to revenue. On the screen, you can see we have an extremely simple customer journey. The potential customer opens a marketing email that has links to different product pages. Depending on what product the customer clicks on, they will be redirected to a landing page where they can request additional information. And they'll provide that additional information that can be used to customize additional marketing material or a phone number for the sales representatives to follow up with. That sales rep is hopefully going to then make a sale. Then, ta-da! You have completed the customer journey. When you begin to build out the customer journey inside of Dynamics 365, you need two pieces of information. Who is your target customer? That is usually defined through customer segmentation. And what type of marketing activities do you want to build into the journey? You can keep this pretty simple, like we just saw, or you can build out a dynamic journey. Think of the journey as a series of actions with send a newsletter. But if an email is not opened, send the brochure. It's completely up to you how you want to design it. And the whole process is relatively easy to build out in Dynamics. Let me show you. And now let's go back to the portal to build out that customer journey back into the marketing app. And again, we're going to be talking about outbound marketing. So let's choose that portion. And under marketing execution, let's go and choose customer journeys. So here you see the existing customer journeys. I'm going to add a new one. Again, just like the previous one, customer segment, there are also templates for this one. So it could be announcements, onboarding, event marketing. I'm not going to choose any of these. I'm going to manually create a new customer journey. And the first thing you really need to do is to set the audience for which you want this customer segment. So that is the segment that I include the list of segments. And I'm going to look for Chicago. I see Chicago customers. And I say so this customer journey is going to start when a contact is a member of the segment Chicago customers. And after that, once we started this journey, there are a couple of things we want to do. So that's where we need to add certain tiles. So there are many actions you can do, and there's no limit on the number of actions you can do. For this first action, I'm going to choose send an email. And I choose send an email. I can go ahead and look for existing templates of emails, or you can create your own templates as well according to your organization. So I'm just going to, for the demo purposes, I'm going to just choose something that looks a little simple, easy to understand, and select it. Now that I've selected this, you can go ahead and customize it as you wish. So it's pretty much like a drag and drop interface where you can change the message, change the elements that are inside this list. And it's very customizable based on which customer you are sending it to. You can add images, headlines, like a newsletter. I'm not going to change too much here. And I'm going to save it. And I'm going to just close out this window. And here we have a very simple new customer journey. The moment someone added to Chicago customers, it is going to send an email to that person. And here we see the details about this email. It's a commercial email. It's created on this date. And you can modify all these elements, these email elements, and you can schedule when you want to send out these emails, weekdays, weekends, and what time of the day according to your customers to be sensitive to their needs. And I'm not going to change any of these settings, but you can go ahead and customize it as you wish. And once you've set up that stuff, you can go back into general. And now I'm going to change the name of this customer journey. I'm going to call this Chicago Customer Journey. And I have indicated the owner of this. I can change the owner if I want. And it's going to be, the status is going to be active. And I'm going to choose the start date as the 4th of April, 2025. Up. The end date wasn't modified. And I'm going to change the time zone where this is active at Central Time. And I'm going to save this customer journey. And now we're ready to go. And I'm going to go live with this journey. And it's going to just check for some errors. And now this is live. This customer journey is ready to go. And it will activate in 2025, the 4th of April. Now we've seen how you can build out a simple customer journey. Throughout this lesson, we examined the marketing tasks that are available in Dynamics 365 Marketing. We even saw some demos. We described how segments are created and used in Dynamics 365 Marketing. We created email marketing messages, and we reviewed how to generate and qualify leads. And finally, we saw how we could leverage customer journeys in the Dynamics 365 Marketing application. As you can see, customer journeys are a key component in Dynamics 365 Marketing. You will almost always create customer journeys as a basis for any marketing effort to guide the path a customer takes while interacting with your organization's marketing process. But you might be saying, hey, Rama, this is great. But where am I supposed to get all of these prospects from to add to the customer journey? Well, not to worry. Dynamics 365 is going to make it easy for you and your marketing team to host large-scale events, to find leads, or show off your latest products to existing customers. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe event management. We'll also be talking about customer voice, and we will describe Dynamics 365 customer insights. When you create an event inside of Dynamics Marketing, you create a single event record that will keep all your planning details in a single location. This events record has a timeline to help your team through each step of the planning process. So if you need to arrange for speakers, individual sessions, as well as keep track of event registrations, your marketing team will have control of every single one of these details, from planning to budgeting, to promotion to publication, and finally to registration and event analytics. This allows your marketing team to design events that support your organization's goals and attract the right audience. Again, the entire goal at the end of the day is to generate revenue. Let's say, for example, your organization may want to create more targeted customer segments based on past buying patterns or a customer's interests or brand preferences. This information is not something that is typically available in Dynamics 365 marketing, but you could potentially pull that information from another application. Another area that is important in marketing is customer engagement. The more you engage with your customers, the more you understand who they are. One of the easiest ways to do this is through targeted surveys. For example, you might include a link to a product survey in a marketing email sent to customers. As customers complete the survey and tell you what products they're interested in, they can be easily added to segments that target those products. And there are many different products that can be integrated with Dynamics 365 marketing to extend its capabilities. And let's look at the two most common products. They are Customer Voice and Customer Insights. Customer Voice helps you to gather feedback from your existing customers. And here's the thing, customer feedback is the underlying driver how businesses conduct business. Capturing customer feedback can also have a huge impact when combined with marketing efforts. For example, if you were to embed a survey in a marketing email, you could capture more details about customers, such as product interests. And based on their responses and the demographic information that you have, you could create a targeted customer segment that you could use in customer journeys. Dynamics 365 Customer Voice is a feedback management tool that allows you to easily collect feedback and interpret those metrics in a way that can help drive decisions in the business. It's easy to do this through pre-created, customizable templates that you can collect feedback from your customers across several different channels. When you build surveys inside of Customer Voice, you can access them directly from marketing components inside of Dynamics, including the segment builder, the email designer, and the customer journey designer. By making this information available in Dynamics 365 marketing, you can use surveys to make data-driven decisions and adjust your marketing campaigns as needed. And of course, it is great to capture feedback, but sometimes you want the data right in that moment, not necessarily after. Because remember, sales is all about the relationship you have with your customer. And you want to make sure that every experience your customers have with your brand or your organization is a positive and meaningful one. The better you understand your customers, the easier it is going to be able to provide that personalized customer experience. Dynamics 365 Customer Insights is a customer data platform that helps you gain a better understanding of your customers. It does this by collecting all the data from all the different platforms in your organization, like transactional data, behavioral data, and observational data to create a 360-degree view of your customers. From the customer profile, you can track data across different demographics and identify trends based on key data that you want to track. You can use this data to take action like marketing to customers, improving sales cycles, and increasing customer satisfaction. Customer Insights includes two baseline applications. The first is engagement insights, which really helps you better understand how customers are engaging with your organizational websites. So you can connect to things like your retail site or your company portals, and you can start to see how these users are engaging with you. What operating systems and devices are they using? Where are they coming from? What pages are they spending the most time on? Who are your partnering domains that are referring these customers? And what percentage of your customers that are coming in are working with that? It really helps you to understand and develop engagement strategies for how to better market and drive people to your website, as well as maybe help you understand how your website should be structured in order to keep people there for longer and maybe spend more money with you throughout the course of the organization. And then we have audience insights. This allows you to consolidate information from all of our different transactional behavior and demographic information into a singular customer resource. And the thing with Dynamics 365 Customer Insights is that it's a data collection repository. The purpose of it is to give you the information that you need to truly understand who those customers are. With Dynamics 365 Customer Insights, you have everything that you need to consolidate that information, build segments based upon who those customers are, and customize scoring models and brand affinities. Bring the information into Dynamics 365 Marketing and use it as you move forward. But as you can see, by complementing the core marketing automation features, Dynamics 365 Marketing with added features such as customer voice or customer insights, you can create a more powerful marketing solution based on proven marketing strategies targeting today's customers. And once collected, your leads can be handed off to your sales team. And that is what we will be covering in the last module of today. In this last lesson, we examined when marketing applications may be needed. We also reviewed how you'll be able to capture feedback with customer voice. And finally, we examined how you may be able to use customer insights to leverage and create more targeted customer segments that can be brought into Dynamics 365 Marketing. With that, we've come to the end of this module. Let's recap what we've learned. We started by introducing the Dynamics 365 customer engagement apps and discussed some of the common features. And then we explored the Dynamics 365 Marketing, where we talked about what are the standard marketing business processes and how Dynamics 365 Marketing addresses those for you. And finally, we described Dynamics 365 marketing capabilities, where we got to know the product a little better. We reviewed additional marketing applications such as the Dynamics 365 Customer Voice and Dynamics 365 Customer Insights. Before we dig in to Dynamics 365 Sales, let's go ahead and take one more 10-minute break and we'll start the next module. So go grab a drink, do some stretches, because we still got some work to do. See you back here soon. Is easy to understand. These are other organizations who you might be going up against to close the deal with the customer to make the sale. Maybe they have similar products or services, or perhaps they're priced lower. Either way, they are something that could potentially be a blocker when it comes to you closing the deal. So let's put all of this terminology into practice by looking at a sample sales process. So what you see on the right, that's an example sales process. So first, we start with the lead. Our sales rep is going to qualify or disqualify the lead. If the lead is disqualified, the sales process stops right there. But if it is qualified, if they think that there's a potential for a sale, the sales rep will start to develop that lead into an opportunity. And the opportunity can now be tied to an existing account or contact, or a new one can be created if it doesn't already exist. And as a relationship is developed, the sales rep will then create a quote or a proposal. If the customer accepts the quote, it'll turn into an order. This is usually where we say the deal is closed. However, to finish out the process, the order needs to be fulfilled and billed. In this module, we'll be exploring that sales process. This is the natural progression of the customer journey from where your marketing team identifies potential leads. Those leads are handed off to your sales team to qualify, develop, and ultimately provide a quote that will lead to that sale. However, sales processes can vary from organization to organization. But for the sake of this virtual training, we'll be using the model that you see on the slide. When you're in the qualify stage, you're trying to determine the viability of that lead. This is where you are gathering information about the lead and any related context. So if, for example, your sales rep may follow up on an inquiry for information submitted through your website, that lead would be created in the system automatically through some of the connected features of Dynamics. A timeline displays any related activities. So when your rep follows up on the lead, that phone call that he makes to that customer will be tracked as an activity. And on the call, the rep may be able to identify a key stakeholder that will be part of the decision-making process. They can make that contact as a stakeholder for that account, which will make it easier for the sales process to progress. And during that call, that stakeholder mentions that they previously purchased a similar product from a competitor. This can also be something that the sales rep can make a note of to help qualify that lead. And this can help when reps and their managers are looking at new ways to move the sales along. One of the other tools that can help with lead qualification stage is the assistant. This useful little tool can help with creating reminders around upcoming meetings or appointments. It can also be used to remind your reps of follow-up tasks. While all of this is great, I know that every organization probably already has well-established existing processes. And Dynamics can help you with that. You can add your own procedures to the Dynamics sales process to make sure that any compliance or required steps are being complied to and are completed before moving on to the next step of a qualified lead, where it becomes an opportunity. Just to make sure everyone understands how the lead process works in Dynamics 365, let's look at one more example. Let's say we have a sales rep. Let's call him Tom. Tom is attending a trade show. And if you know how trade shows work, this is the time where everyone is collecting swag like pens, t-shirts, fidget toys. But it's also where business is done. People are exchanging business cards. And let's say Tom's booth has a giveaway for gift cards for anyone who drops their business card in the jar. And after the event, Tom takes all of those business cards that are collected and enters them as leads inside of Dynamics. Remember, some of those business cards may have been from people who were genuinely interested in Tom's company's products. And some just dropped their card in there for the chance to win that prize. So Tom needs to qualify these leads. And when we say qualify, we need to see who is actually likely to open their wallets to buy something from Tom. So Tom uses LinkedIn or some other related records to do a little bit more research on the lead before following up. So when Tom calls the customer, he tries to discuss their need and learn who the decision makers are at their company. And he captures all of this information as activities in Dynamics. He then reaches out to the rest of his sales team to see if anyone else has had experience working with those customers. So let's say one of Tom's colleagues puts up their hand and says, hey, I know this company went through a massive management restructure and the additional stakeholders were involved. That information can then be added to the lead. Tom then reaches out to schedule a face-to-face meeting where the relationship assistant shares additional information on the individuals that they're meeting. Tom is able to meet with some of the stakeholders, but not everyone. Let's say the meeting goes well, and the company shares that they might be interested in learning more. Tom thanks them for their time and goes back to the office to qualify the lead. The lead that started out as a business card in a bowl has now gone through all of these steps and been qualified, and it turns into an opportunity. And since all the work Tom has done so far has been documented inside of Dynamics, he will now be able to leverage the assistant to make sure he continues to build that relationship based off past interactions. Let's see how we can create and manage a lead the way Tom has in Dynamics 365 Sales app. So let's jump back into our portal and see how easy the process of managing leads and opportunities can be. Here we are back inside the Dynamics 365 apps, and I want you to note that I'm no longer in the marketing app. I'm in the Sales Hub app, and both look kind of similar, but I'm going to show you Sales Hub. At the left, you can see there's options for you to create leads. And right now you see that I have no leads, no open leads. And leads could come from anywhere. It could be from trade shows. It could be from people who are reaching out by email. This is basically an intent. Someone might be potential that someone might actually buy from your company. And let's say I was at a trade show and I collected some name cards, and now I'm documenting those name cards. And somebody I spoke with indicated that maybe they were interested in buying some office products. They want to buy new office products. This gentleman was named Chris Topper, who happens to be the office manager in a small firm in the area. So I'm going to indicate as much information as I know about Chris, and he works for a company called Mason's Coffee Emporium. So that's kind of the summary of the conversation that we had. And so Chris is the person that I'm going to get in touch with. And after documenting all of these leads, I need to start understanding the potential. Could I sell to these people? So first thing we need to do is to reach out to these people after getting this information. So I don't have a lot of details about them because it would take a lot of time to gather information without knowing if they're actually going to buy. So I just have the basic information, a way to get in touch with Chris, and I'm going to try and qualify if this is a potential sale. And on the right, you see that we have our timeline again to help us track who has gotten in touch with Chris. I'm going to go ahead and log a phone call that I had with Chris. I followed up with Chris after the trade show to see what he was interested in and how we could help as a company. So I'm going to indicate the details of the phone call. I happened to get his number, so I was able to call him. We spoke for half an hour, and this seems positive. Chris would like to see the product listing. So now we have sort of moved towards qualifying this lead. So now that I've done the phone call activity, I'm going to mark it as done. So the status will go from active to complete. So I have completed this phone call. I'm going to close that event. And so now whoever comes into Chris's account, they'll see that the last activity that Chris had with our company, and they're not going to try and sell to him again or have a follow-up again because he's already indicated to me that he will be interested in seeing the product listing. So that is the main advantage of having this. And as we try and qualify this, Chris is not an existing contact or an existing account. He is a new account. So we can't indicate any of these, but we did identify him as a key decision maker. Because he is the office manager, he can say, yes, let's buy this. So I have qualified and moved him I could move him to the next stage, but then I would have to create this opportunity manually. But I don't want to do that. So I'm going to qualify him using a different method. So right at the top, you see there's in our ribbon, there is a qualify button. So I'm going to click qualify. The advantage of doing it in this fashion is that any information we have about Chris is migrated over to an opportunity. So you see we were in leads just now, and now we're in opportunities. And so all of the details have been transferred over, and we move from the qualify to the develop stage. And all our timeline activities have also been migrated over. And you see my open leads is now empty, and we have one opportunity, which has been moved from lead to opportunity. Now that we've learned how to create and manage a lead in Dynamics 365 Sales and move it to an opportunity, Let's jump back into our content and we'll pick up where we left off in the next demo. And that's how easy it is to create and manage a lead inside of Dynamics 365 Sales. Now we need to develop the lead a little bit further. When a lead turns into an opportunity, you go from the qualify step to the develop step in the sales process. An opportunity is viewed as a potential sale. And for it to turn into a sale, your sales team needs to develop the relationship to increase the likelihood of closing the deal. Opportunities are an important part of the sales process because this is where typically your sales team spends most of its time and effort. Managing opportunities typically includes several customer interactions such as meetings with the customer, phone calls, several tasks, and in most cases, how well the sales team manages their opportunities is the difference between a win and a loss. So if we go back to our scenario with Tom, he's gone through the qualifier stage and created an opportunity. Now, since he's in the develop stage, Tom is going to collect data required by his organization. He'll put in an estimated close date and budget information. He'll make a note of any products that the customer is interested in and pull the pricing data based off of the quantities and the sale type. Any information that Tom had entered in the qualifier stage about contacts or competitors will automatically transfer to the opportunity. Now, Tom schedules a lunch with the key stakeholders for later in the week. And before the meeting, the assistant tool reminds Tom of the meeting and shares a published article on the company. During the lunch meeting, a formal proposal is requested. When Tom gets back to the office, he moves the opportunity to the proposal stage and generates a quote based off the pricing and product catalog. This quote can now be presented to the company. And should they accept the term, Tom can now advance the opportunity towards closing the deal and sends the customer an order, and the opportunity is then closed as a win. In this example, the opportunity was closed as a win, but that's only one of the many different ways an opportunity can be closed. It can also be closed when there is a quote or when the order is created. It can also be closed as a lost opportunity if the company chose to go with a competitor. But I want to show you how easy this process can be. So let's go ahead and work through an opportunity inside of Dynamics 365 Sales. So let's pick up where we left off with Chris. Right now we've qualified Chris from a lead to an opportunity, and now we have to move that forward. So we're back in the portal. You see that our leads is empty. Once again, we moved Chris to an opportunity. So let's take a look at the opportunity listing that we have. I'm going to go ahead and add a task because Chris did indicate interest in our products. So I'm going to say, let's send our product listing catalog to Chris so that he can take a look and make a decision for his company. And I'm going to save and close this. And the good thing about having everything in this portal is that whoever has to be a part of this decision making or part of making this sale happen will be able to see what is the latest that has been happening with Chris. We can add in information about the latest information, latest updates, the current stakeholders, who are the decision makers. And I can also add people from my sales team. So I know that someone from my sales team mentioned that they've worked with Chris before. So I can go ahead and add someone, Jeff, because he indicated over coffee that they worked together a few years ago. And it'll be a warm contact, so it'll make our sale a little easier. It's going to add Jeff to this record. And Chris also mentioned that he's worked with Coho Technologies to obtain his office logistics before. So I'm going to go ahead and indicate that over here. So that if Jeff comes into the team and he wants to see how to position the product, he can go ahead and understand Coho's offering and make our offering a little more attractive. And the good thing about keeping everything consolidated in this opportunity listing is that anybody who joins the team knows what is the last thing we did with Chris. They're able to see everything in the timeline, who interacted with him, when, what did they speak about. All of that is documented in the timeline. And it's very useful. And when we start to build out quotations, we won't end up sending multiple quotations with different prices. Everyone knows when was the latest quote, when it was sent, what was the amount, what deals did we offer them, and any products that Chris might be interested in, we can indicate that in the Products tab. So overall, it helps everyone work better together. And over here at the top, we can also indicate the estimated close date and the revenue we expect when we try and close out this, win this opportunity. So now I'm not going to run through the entire sales process, but if I was to run through from qualify, develop, propose, and close, at the end of everything, we're going to have to either close the deal as a won or as a lost deal. So if they do buy from us, we would close as something that we won. Otherwise, we would have lost the deal to a customer. So I'm going to close this deal as won, and I'm going to indicate the reason as won, the actual revenue as $55,000. Maybe I didn't have any competitors for this actual deal, and I'm going to click OK. And now you can see that this is going to be won as a record. If I was to go back to my list of opportunities, this is now empty. We have won Chris's deal, and we have closed it as a win. And this is ultimately our sales team's goal, right? To win the deals and get the revenue in. And all of the information has been transferred across the entire sales pipeline to this closed opportunity. So the pricing, payment details, all of that stuff, your sales reps, they don't need to manually fill it in each time. It follows it through the sales pipeline in Dynamics 365. And that's pretty cool. And let's jump back to our content and continue where we were. Like I said before, the qualify and develop stage is where your team will be spending most of their time. But that's just a part of the process. Remember, our goal is to close the deal. So let's take a look how you can go from opportunity to quote to order to the invoice. When your sales rep is developing the relationship, they're collecting all the necessary information that will help move the deal towards a sale. When the customer is ready for a formal proposal, that a quote doesn't always have to come from an opportunity. They can be created manually on their own. However, when a quote is generated from an opportunity, all of the information that has previously been collected during the previous stages, like the develop stage, things like pricing and discounts, all of that will automatically be imported into the quote. Your reps can then decide to add or remove lines as necessary. And this is important because usually the first quote isn't the one that customer accepts. Oftentimes, revisions are needed. Let's say, for example, you have a company who initially said they would buy 10 of your products, but then would hold off for 4 of them until the end of the calendar year. It's easy enough to just adjust the line items and resend the quote. When you activate a quote, it cannot be edited. But if you needed to make changes, you would close the original quote and open a new version, make your changes, and then activate that new quote before sending it to your customer. This makes it so that you can see every single revision and ensure that everyone is working off the correct quote. Once the customer signs off on a quote, it can be closed and an order to be generated. Oh, and if the quote was generated from an opportunity, you can close the opportunity as well. But I want to make sure that you know that after a quote is accepted, you will not be able to revise it. So after your customer signs off on a quote, they place an order. An order is a commitment from a customer to buy products or services. Most orders will be created as a direct result of an accepted quote. However, there are times when an order unrelated to a quote may need to be created. When quotes are converted to orders, all of the content of the quote are added to the order record and the quote is closed. Once the order is placed, it now needs to be fulfilled. This involves providing the services or products that the customer had asked for in that order. And after an order is fulfilled, you can create an invoice. Invoices are requests for payment from a business to its customers. So when the invoice is created, all the products that were associated with the order will be automatically added to the invoice. Other products or services can be added or removed from the order after it has been created. The invoice will be marked as paid once the customer remits their payment. And depending on the terms of their billing, it can either be a total or partial payment. It just depends on the terms you've agreed with the customer. What I hope you see up to this point is that Dynamics helps manage the sales lifecycle by providing a solid foundation for your organization to qualify your sales prospects and convert them eventually into revenue for yourself. And in this lesson, we got introduced to several sales terminology and saw how each of these processes can be handled within Dynamics 365 for a potential sales lead. Then moving along the sales pipeline, we reviewed the process for creating and managing opportunities. Once we got a firm commitment from our customers, we explored the options available for creating and delivering quotes using the sales app. Finally, we discussed orders and invoices. And much like we saw when it comes to marketing, sometimes you need some additional functionality that Dynamics 365 just doesn't provide. That's where you can connect to additional applications. With that, we've come to the end of Lesson 1. In Lesson 2, we'll be talking about leveraging sales capabilities. In this lesson, we'll first start talking about Dynamics 365 sales forecasting. After that, we'll get an overview of additional apps that extend the capabilities of Dynamics 365 sales, starting with LinkedIn Sales Navigator and its capabilities that can help drive more personalized and meaningful interaction with buyers. Finally, we describe the use cases and key capabilities of Dynamics 365 Sales Insights, which adds AI-based analytics. When it comes to developing opportunities, you're really looking for information on the organization and all of those involved. You want to know who are your competitors so you understand what you're up against. You want to understand who the stakeholders are, who is going to be the decision maker when it comes to finally making the deal. And you want to leverage all of the information your teammates have, whether it's formal or informal. And while Dynamics 365 can help with some of this, instead of cold calling every single lead that comes across your sales team's desk, wouldn't it be nice if you could identify your target prospects and information that could develop the relationships? Well, allow me to introduce you to Sales Insight and LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Linking Dynamics with LinkedIn Sales Navigator allows you to gather additional insights on your contacts. Things like, did a key stakeholder change jobs and move to a different company? Well, instead of having to create a new contact in Dynamics, the two records can be synced together. Let's say you're looking for a warm lead into a target customer. You can look at the company's executives list and look for a mutual connection who could make an introduction and avoid that cold call, which often doesn't have great results. Essentially, any data that's on LinkedIn can be pulled into Dynamics. If you send a message to a contact at a company, that message will be tracked as an activity in Dynamics. Or on a contact record, the LinkedIn profile pictures can automatically be linked to create a personal connection with your customers. But what I think is really powerful is that by having all of this information in one place, it makes it easier to extract useful insight. For example, if you combined Dynamics 365 components, such as Sales Insight, you could see what a potential buyer is interested in based on the content they're sharing on LinkedIn and the discussions they're participating in. Or your sales teams can set up real-time alerts for when a prospect connects with someone in their network or is mentioned in the news. Dynamics 365 Sales Insights is a tool that analyzes your existing customer information inside of Dynamics. It looks at how often you interact with customers or how often they are reaching out to you. It'll look at any upcoming sale or any upcoming activities. All of this information is going to help you better understand your relationships with your customers and how you can repeat actions that led to success in the past. So let's say you have an opportunity that you haven't been able to connect with in a few weeks due to working on other opportunities. Sales Insights can send you a reminder that you're not connecting with them as often and maybe the relationship is slipping. It'll also provide you with some communication topics that might help to personalize the interaction. It does this by looking at all of the data that you have. Perhaps they mentioned that they were going on a ski trip 2 weeks ago in an email. That email was captured as an activity inside of Dynamics. So when you reach out, Sales Insights might suggest that you ask how their trip was. With Sales Insights, you can monitor the overall health of your customer relationships by identifying relationships that may be slipping. This lets you start rebuilding that relationship with that customer before it is too late. In Sales Insights, some features are available for free, along with the Dynamics 365 Sales, and some require an additional Dynamics 365 Sales Insights license to use in your organization. Features like Assistant with Studio. It lets you create and display custom insight cards using the Studio. The Studio helps you to create custom insight cards through Power Automate. And after you create those cards, you can configure prioritization and who can see those cards. Another one, Auto Capture Premium. It expands on the capabilities of the existing Auto Capture. Relationship Analytics. It gathers information from Dynamics 365 Sales for key performance indicators and activity histories and displays it in a graphical manner. Predictive Lead Scoring. It helps you to focus on revenue generation efforts by providing a score to help you prioritize your efforts on quality leads. Predictive Opportunity Scoring. It allows you to focus on revenue generation efforts by providing, again, a score to help you prioritize efforts on quality opportunities. Notes Analysis, another one. It helps you track notes about customer meetings and discussion to provide intelligent suggestions. Talking Points displays topics to start conversations with your customers. Things like the ski trip that I just mentioned, or other sports and family. And who knows whom. It gives you details such as names and email addresses of your colleagues who might know a lead that you're going to interact with to help you break that ice. Premium Forecasting helps sellers and managers to improve their forecast accuracy by providing forecast projections using data and AI. And Sales Accelerator is another great feature that helps sellers to sell smartly by helping them prioritize and focus on how best to approach their customers and speed up the sales process. And that brings us to the end of Module 3. And I hope you've learned that the entire sales lifecycle process can be supported by the tools inside Dynamics 365 Sales. And it doesn't just stop there. With applications like LinkedIn Sales Navigator and Sales Insights, you can also create adaptive selling solutions that will help you to build long-term relationships with your customers. In this module, we explored Dynamics 365 Sales. We saw some standard sales and business processes and how Dynamics 365 Sales addresses those processes. We also had a good description of Dynamics 365 Sales capabilities. We got to know the product really well. We explored the features and the functionality. And we reviewed additional sales applications such as Sales Insights and Sales Navigator that can integrate with Dynamics 365 Sales. And that wraps up everything I have for you today. And quite frankly, we've covered a lot. But not to worry, the fun isn't totally over. We still have part 2, where we'll be looking at customer service and field service apps inside of Dynamics 365. However, if you are eager for more right now, don't forget about the free learning path on Microsoft Learn. You can find Learn content, videos, and plenty of other additional documentation to recap what we covered in today's session at aka.ms/MB-910. That's aka.ms/MB-910. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here for part 2. Bye, everyone.